The fear behind money. Most people will never become truly free, not because they do not make enough money, but because their entire life is controlled by fear. Fear of having nothing, fear of being less than others, fear of becoming nobody. And the most dangerous part is, they call this motivation, but what if your chase for money was never really about money? Why do you really chase money? Stop for a moment. Do not answer automatically. Do not immediately say freedom, comfort, stability. Almost everyone says that. But if you look deeper, you begin to see something else. Most people are not chasing money. They are running from fear. Fear of not being enough, fear of falling behind, fear of losing control over life. And this fear becomes the invisible force behind almost everything. A person wakes up in the morning already tense. Nothing has happened yet, but inside, the movement has already begun. Need to hurry, need to earn more, need to move faster. And this state becomes so familiar that it starts to feel normal. But this is not peace. It is survival. Look carefully at the modern world. People almost never truly stop. Even when they rest, their mind keeps running. They constantly compare themselves, looking at other people's success, other people's cars, other people's lives. And inside, a feeling appears. I am behind. And in that moment, money stops being just a tool. It becomes psychological protection. A person starts believing, when I have more money, then I will finally feel calm. But the problem is that feeling of calm almost never lasts, because the source of anxiety is not outside, it is inside. If money truly solved inner tension, wealthy people would be the calmest people on earth. But they are not. Very often a person earns more, and at the same time becomes even more afraid. Now, they fear losing it, fear falling down, fear becoming not enough again. And the chase continues, just on another level. At first, a person thinks they need 10,000, then 100,000, then 1,000,000. But the feeling of lack stays the same. Because the problem was never the number. The problem was the state of consciousness. The mind is almost always built around lack. It is never enough, never sufficient, always needing more. And if a person does not see this, their entire life becomes an endless chase. A chase with no point of arrival. You reach a goal, you feel temporary relief, and almost immediately, the mind creates a new problem, a new goal, a new anxiety, a new fear, and it happens again and again. Because the mind does not know how to live in wholeness, it only knows how to seek. And people begin to mistake this endless searching for life itself. But if you honestly look within, you begin to see most decisions are not made from inspiration, they are made from tension. People choose jobs not because they love them, but because they fear having no money. They stay in destructive relationships not because they are happy, but because they fear loneliness. They accept lives that make them miserable because the fear of change feels stronger. And slowly a person stops noticing that they are no longer living freely. They are living carefully. Their entire life becomes organized around avoiding fear. And this becomes exhausting because fear requires constant energy. It constantly keeps the body tense. You can even notice it physically. Tight shoulders, pressure in the chest, a tense stomach, constant inner pressure even when everything seems fine externally. And the strangest part is, most people consider this normal. They become so used to anxiety that peace starts feeling unusual. But if you look carefully, almost all of this anxiety is created by thoughts about the future, not by the moment itself, but by thought. What if it doesn't work out? What if I lose everything? What if I am not good enough? And the body reacts to these thoughts as if they are real danger, even though in the present moment nothing bad is happening, but the mind creates a scenario, and the body begins living inside it. That is why a person can lie in bed at night, completely safe, and still feel overwhelming anxiety, because the body reacts not to reality, but to thought about reality. And if this is not seen clearly, life becomes an endless inner struggle. A person tries to earn enough to finally relax. But the problem is, fear cannot be earned away, because it is created not by circumstances, but by consciousness. Fear shrinks life. When a person lives from fear, their perception becomes narrow. They stop seeing possibilities, stop feeling creativity, stop hearing themselves. They begin making decisions only for safety, even if that safety slowly destroys them. The irony is, the more a person tries to avoid pain, the more pain enters their life. Because all of their attention is constantly focused on threat, and attention strengthens whatever it rests upon, and slowly life becomes built around lack, around anxiety, around fear of loss, and eventually a person forgets what inner lightness even feels like. But there is a moment that can change everything. A very simple moment. The moment you suddenly notice, right now, fear is controlling me. You notice that your desire to earn more is not coming from love for life, but from inattention, from the feeling that you are not enough. And in that moment, space appears between you and your automatic reaction. A small space, but an important one. Because inside that space, awareness is born. You stop acting automatically. You stop blindly following impulse, and you begin seeing clearly. You begin asking different questions, not, how can I earn more? But, why do I constantly feel that I am not enough? And this completely changes the direction of attention. You stop looking outside and begin looking within, and that is where the real cause exists. Because the problem was never money. Money was only the screen onto which inner fear was projected. And when you begin seeing this, your relationship with money changes. Money stops becoming proof of worth, stops becoming escape from anxiety, stops becoming replacement for inner peace, and becomes what it was always meant to be, a tool. Nothing more, nothing less. And then something strange happens. When fear no longer controls you, clarity appears. And clarity creates better decisions. Because a calm person sees further. They do not act from panic. They do not desperately try to save themselves. They do not make decisions from inner contraction. That is why people who are internally calmer often make far more powerful decisions. They are capable of conscious risk, capable of seeing opportunities, capable of creating, because their thinking is no longer paralyzed by fear. When there is no constant pressure inside, energy appears, space appears, a sense of life appears, and work stops being escape. Money stops being a psychological drug, and life stops being a constant race. And for the first time in a long time, a person begins to feel they do not need to constantly run forward. They can stop, they can breathe, they can be here, and from this state, actions become much more powerful because they are born not from lack, but from clarity, not from fear, but from presence. And maybe, for the first time in a very long time, you are beginning to realize this was never about money. It was about the inner tension you were trying to escape from. And until a person sees this clearly, no amount of money will ever bring peace. If this video made you look deeper, watch the rest of this series, because in the next videos we will explore why people live in anxiety, why the mind constantly creates suffering, and how to experience real inner freedom for the first time. The next video may completely change the way you see your life,